back to Station 91. Firefighter Allwine here with another episode of Firehouse Cooking. This is our holiday baking edition.
Wha-bam!
This is too much. That's a good point. You rolling? Okay, here we go. Should I be wearing gloves for this? Probably should. This is off the books butter. Oh, too dark. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're doing not one but two holiday-inspired cheesecakes. The flavors we're going to be using today are candy canes, eggnog, cinnamon, nutmeg, all the great holiday flavors. So to start out, I'm going to make 2 graham cracker crusts, and we're going to try to keep it really simple today. So what I have is 2 cups of graham cracker crumbs. You can either crush your own graham crackers or buy these prepared. I also have 2/3 a cup of butter. It's about a stick and a half. This is melted. It doesn't have to be super hot, just melted. Pour this in and mix together with a fork. Some people like to add a little bit of cinnamon or sugar to this. I don't. I think it's just fine as is. So that's what we're looking for there, is all the big clumps kind of broken up, texture of wet sand. And you can kind of test this by making sure it kind of sticks together just like that. And now all we need to do is press these into our pie pans. I've got these kind of slanted pie pans. You can do the straight-sided springform molds, whatever you got, but the method's basically going to be the same. Just put a nice scoop in each one. And then I like to just use the measuring cup as the tool for this. Just kind of pressing in, and as I go, the graham cracker crumbs kind of get pushed up the sides. And if you need a little more, just throw a little more in there. And this, this is such a simple recipe. I remember doing this with my folks when I was pretty young. So there's, it's pretty hard to screw this up. Even if I mess up, I can easily start over and it'll be just fine. Okay, so I'm just kind of working around. So there we go, that's what I'm going for right there. I'm just going to set that aside while I finish the other crust, and then we'll get into making our fillings. With our crust prepared and set aside, we can start making our fillings now. So the first one we're going to do is our eggnog cheesecake. And for that, I'm going to put, I'm using a blender. Any pastry chefs would probably be upset with me for doing this, because it's not good to overmix or whip a bunch of air into the cheesecake. So I'm going to use this because it's really easy, really kind of clean way for me to do it. But when I actually mix it, I'm going to take care not to blend it too much. So that's my quick disclaimer here. But so I'm going to start with one, is this 8 ounces? 1 8-ounce package of cream cheese. To the cream cheese, I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup of eggnog, and 3/4 cup of sugar. And the final ingredient is a little bit of nutmeg, just to kind of boost up the eggnog profile of this cheesecake. Final ingredient is 3 large eggs. Okay, now I'm going to blend this gently until it's combined. And that's it for the first filling. All I'm going to do is pour this into my crust and make my second filling. Okay, our second cheesecake, the ratios are all the same, but instead of eggnog, we're going to add sour cream. So this will be a more basic cheesecake recipe. And then at the end, we'll top it with some candy canes to give it that Christmas twist. So to start out, same thing, we're going to do 1 package of cream cheese, three-quarters cup of sour cream, three-quarters cup of sugar, and just a little bit of vanilla. And finally, just like before, 3 eggs. Okay, there we go. It's in just a few minutes, we have 2 cheesecakes ready to go in the oven. I have my oven preheated to 325. I'm going to start my timer at about 10 minutes, and they're not going to be done in 10 minutes probably, but I'll check them every 3-4 minutes after that, because we're looking for a pretty precise temperature. You certainly don't want to undercook your cheesecakes, and you definitely don't want to overcook them. So I'm really going to be watching these pretty close. All right, so it's been about 30 minutes total. Like I said, I was checking them often because I didn't want to overcook them at all. And they're looking pretty good here. So what I look for to make sure a custard like this is done cooking is I kind of shake a little bit. And I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but it's definitely got some movement. It's got some jiggle, but it should look semi-solid or sort of gelatinous. Sort of hard to describe, but you'll be able to tell when you watch it. It'll turn from a liquid consistency to a gelatinous consistency. That's when you know you're done. If you want, you can put a toothpick in there. That should be a good indicator too. But for me, these are ready to go. And what I'm going to do now is pop these into the fridge. Although they're done cooking, these do need to sit and cool down for probably 2 hours minimum. Ideally, they'll set up overnight. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pop them in the fridge and then come back to you once they're cool. All right, it's been 2 hours. Let's see if these have cooled off. Oh yeah, bottom's nice and cold, so these are ready to top and finish off. Okay, so about 10 minutes of prep work, about half an hour in the oven, 2 hours setting up in the fridge, and now we're ready to top and finish these. So off camera, I've prepared a basic whipped cream. This is just 2 cups of whipping cream, and about a cup of powdered sugar. I didn't add any vanilla or anything. Whipped it by hand until it's kind of this nice soft peak texture. And I'm just going to split this evenly between the two. Okay, and the key is to now not forget which one's which. So the eggnog cheesecake is on my right. I'm going to top it with a little bit of nutmeg. This kind of boosts that eggnog flavor, but also looks kind of nice and helps me not forget that this is the eggnog cheesecake. And then the one on my left is our candy cane cheesecake. So I just crushed up a few candy canes, and I'll just sprinkle that right on top. And there's your final result right there, ready to serve. Thanks again for joining us on this holiday episode. As always, from our family to yours, happy holidays, and your cooking safety is our priority.